The Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 was a pivotal moment in American history, marking one of the darkest days that would eventually lead to the American Civil War. Slavery was deeply entrenched in American society in the mid-19th century, with slaves considered property and their owners having complete control over their lives. Many slaves sought to escape to the North or Canada, where slavery had been abolished, in search of freedom. However, the Fugitive Slave Act made this pursuit perilous and put free blacks at risk. Passed as part of a compromise between the factions advocating for and against slavery, the Fugitive Slave Act imposed severe penalties on anyone who assisted a runaway slave. Even individuals who merely provided food or shelter to a runaway could face fines or imprisonment. Federal marshals were authorized to arrest anyone suspected of being a runaway slave and were required to return them to their owners, regardless of how long they had been living in freedom. This law betrayed the principles of freedom and justice upon which the nation was founded. The enforcement of the Fugitive Slave Act was cruel and inhumane. Slave catchers, often hired by slave owners, relentlessly pursued runaway slaves, employing bloodhounds and resorting to force and violence in their efforts to capture them. Free blacks were also targeted and falsely accused of being runaway slaves, subjected to a process known as slave catching. They would be captured, jailed, and brought before judges who frequently ruled in favor of the slave catchers, condemning innocent individuals to a life of bondage. This resulted in the devastating separation of black families, with fathers, mothers, and children torn apart, never to see each other again. The Fugitive Slave Act also had a significant impact on the Underground Railroad, a secret network of people who assisted slaves in their escape to freedom. The law made it much more difficult for slaves to escape, endangering those who helped them and straining tensions between the North and South. Notwithstanding the dangers, people like Harriet Tubman and Levi Coffin continued to assist slaves in their quest for freedom. Tubman, known as the Moses of her people, made numerous missions to rescue over 70 slaves, and also served as a spy for the Union Army during the Civil War. Coffin, a Quaker abolitionist, opened his home as a safe haven and helped transport thousands of slaves to freedom. The journey along the Underground Railroad was treacherous, involving long distances on foot and the constant risk of capture, punishment, or betrayal. Yet, despite these perils, thousands of slaves found their way to freedom through the network. Sadly, not all slaves were able to make the journey, and many were caught and subjected to punishment. The use of the Underground Railroad further heightened tensions between the North and South in the years leading up to the Civil War. Prior to the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, there were already laws in place to enforce the return of escaped slaves, such as the 1793 law that required authorities in free states to return fugitives to their enslavers. One infamous case that highlighted the illegal capture and sale of free blacks into slavery was that of Solomon Northup, a freeborn black musician who was kidnapped and spent 12 years enslaved before regaining his freedom. His memoir, 12 Years a Slave, provided a first-hand account of the horrors of slavery and contributed to the abolitionist movement. The Fugitive Slave Act and the issues surrounding slavery eventually led to the American Civil War. Abraham Lincoln's election in 1860, with his staunch opposition to slavery, triggered the secession of several southern states and the formation of the Confederate States of America. The conflict between the North and South, fueled by the fundamental disagreement over slavery, resulted in a brutal and devastating war that claimed over 600,000 lives. The Union's victory ultimately led to the abolition of slavery and a profound reshaping of American society and politics. Thank you for watching this video on the Fugitive Slave Act and its impact on American history. We hope it has provided valuable insights into this pivotal moment and the struggle for freedom and justice. If you found this video informative, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more content on important historical events and social issues.